Hello and welcome to Your Speaking Matters. We are going to explore in this podcast, as we have in others, the secrets of effective communication through engaging conversations, techniques, and tips. These skills and techniques and the people that we interview on this particular podcast are here to help you develop those skills. So sit back and let's see how the skills that we present can help transform your concerns about public speaking into a skill set that opens doors for new opportunities. In this episode, we are going to be talking with Jonathan Ettie. Jonathan is a Toastmasters District 28 Director. He's in charge of club growth. He is the District 28 Club Growth Director, and I do believe he's got a lot of information to share with us about what exactly a District Director does. But let's start first by welcoming you, Jonathan, to our podcast today. And please tell us a little bit about yourself. Well, maybe some of your background and what motivated you to join Toastmasters and take on a rather important, very important role in the district.
Well, thank you, Rick. I first discovered Toastmasters thanks to a family member who learned about Toastmasters from a very articulate person. And he told my mom about Toastmasters, which caused me to visit a club. I was at university at the time, and at that time, I was more interested in other things, and I didn't join Toastmasters then. But that got the bug in my ear, so I knew about Toastmasters down the road when I was later at work, and I expressed a desire to get into management at work. And I remember they told me I needed to work on my interpersonal skills. And I thought, hey, I could go to Toastmasters for that. So I visited the Sundowners Toastmasters Club in Spruce Grove, Alberta, Canada, and I saw what Toastmasters had to offer. It was interesting, a chance to improve my communication skills, so I joined. But it actually took me 3 years to do my first 5 speeches as a Toastmaster because video games were more important to me than working on my speaking skills. It wasn't until then, in 2013, that I got to volunteer in leadership for the first time in Toastmasters. I was club secretary for Sundowners Toastmasters, and that led me to be at a Toastmasters Leadership Institute event where they were recruiting area governors. And that, to me, sounded like an important role, so I volunteered for that, which led to a year where I was serving my district in the capacity as area governor, now called area director, and it really got me out of my comfort zone, had me visiting other Toastmasters clubs. Clubs would even think, here's an experienced guy, he can give an educational presentation at our club. But of course, this is a guy that's only done 5 speeches in 3 years, but thanks to the support of my fellow district officers, I managed to succeed in my year as area governor. From there, I enjoyed that so much, I stepped up and served as division governor for a year, or 2 years, sorry, which I really enjoyed, and that was out west. And when I moved out east, I joined the Toastmasters LaSalle Club in LaSalle, Ontario, Canada. And after a few years in that club, I stepped into a division director role for our district, District 28. The year before that, I did logistics manager. And my goal is to one day serve as district director. So I stepped up to be club growth director because I wanted to step up the ranks one at a time so I could learn each role. So when I get to district director, I can better support the people on my team. So that's a little history of how I got into Toastmasters and a bit of my leadership journey at the district level.
So it sounds like you joined Toastmasters much the same way as Carol did. Her boss also suggested to her that she grab a hold of the reins and develop her speaking skills by joining Toastmasters. And then shortly thereafter, it was made clear to me that I needed to join as well. And you can see by the smile on her face that that's absolutely part of how this all worked. Nevertheless, it sounds to me like you've had a great career so far, and I know you're doing an excellent job for District 28 as Club Growth Director. But for our audience, can you describe a little bit about what a club growth director's role is?
Yeah, a club growth director is in some ways a marketing role. Also, the club growth director is in charge of supporting new club leads and finding club coaches for clubs that are low on members. My focus has been on tracking all the new club leads that come to us through what's called the Toastmasters lead management system. Anybody who reaches out to Toastmasters who wants to create a new Toastmasters club, Toastmasters will add them to this online system and I'll get notified. And then I can follow up with them by phone or email to learn what their goals are. And then my team and I, we will communicate with those people to help them build new clubs. And then I also have a team that supports clubs that are between 3 and 12 members. Those are clubs that need a little extra support to get their numbers up. And that's when you can appoint a club coach. And there are some other marketing aspects to the role. I admit I haven't really pursued. I've been focused on club leads and club retention, which I think are important aspects. And I created a district market analysis plan with the district trio that evaluates where our club is, what our goals are for membership growth and club growth in the district.
Wow. Wow, I actually would be interested at some future date seeing the club growth plan that you put together. That's an area that I'm fascinated by, particularly from the standpoint of my own club, Confident Communicators. We're always out there working on gaining new members. And as we discussed at the TLI recently, one of the things that I really want to understand is how to reach out to that 25, 20 even, to maybe 50-year-olds and get them engaged. And your experience certainly seems to fit that. I mean, you know, video games were more important, and I know some of that's true in some of the folks that are out there today. So you've got a major role in District 28. Now, as I listen to all of this, I also ask myself a question. I'm just curious from your perspective, particularly since District 28 is unique in Toastmasters because it is an international district. We have clubs from Canada, LaSalle Club, for instance, from Ontario, and we also have clubs in the United States in the Detroit area. So that to me is one of the things that stands out with regards to District 28. I'm just curious, you know, from your perspective, what stands out about District 28? What makes it special?
I think we have a great team of people that step up to serve on the district level. And of course, you stole my thunder. I was going to talk about the fact that we're an international district.
Sorry
That's
about
one thing
that.
I think is, that's okay. I do think that makes our district great. It brings in different perspectives, people from different countries, even if it's just Canada and the US. I do enjoy coming across the border to district events. And I've met a lot of good people in our district. I think that's what stands out most to me, all the people that have stepped into leadership roles, some who have stepped from area to division, others that are going through the district trio path, like I myself am working on. So I think we have good people in our district, and even people that aren't elected or appointed to official positions that still serve our district in some capacity. Like Vera Johnson, for example, who's my guidance committee member, who gives me advice and support as club growth director, which is great. Even though she's not officially appointed or elected to a specific role, she's still helping the district in small ways.
Yeah, Vera's a tremendous asset to District 28. Now, as I'm listening to this, again, as a club growth director, you've got a pretty big responsibility from helping charter and find new clubs, the marketing angle, going through the process of helping people with retaining the club, much less helping the club itself grow. Within all that, what are some of the biggest challenges you are facing as a the District 28 Club Growth Director? I'm going to get my tongue out from around my teeth yet.
Right. I think one of the challenges is especially trying to support clubs that need coaches. I've tried sending out notifications in the district newsletter to promote the club coach program, and for the most part, nobody stepped forward to request a coach for their club. A few people said they're interested in being a coach. One person wasn't eligible, which was too bad. But then the couple of other people that are interested, nobody has stepped forward to request a coach, so I haven't been able to appoint them anywhere. So I think the challenge is communicating the value of the coaching program and encouraging clubs to step up is one challenge. And then on the club building side, I think several of the club leads, some of them are doing well, some aren't finding members, and we've had to close a few leads where they were unresponsive, or the person trying to make a club changed companies or moved and is no longer interested in building a club. So those are some of the challenges.
Now, you mentioned and I'm familiar with this, somebody is the cornerstone, the keystone for the club, it's a corporate club, and they move to another job or another position and their time is no longer focused on in any way on Toastmasters. Are you finding great ways to address those kinds of challenges? I mean, that's a tough one, I know from personal experience.
Yeah, I haven't directly tried to intervene in a situation like that, although I know there are some clubs that are struggling, that are corporate clubs.
Yeah, it's a
I
challenge.
guess
Yeah.
yeah, it's a challenge, and knowing exactly what to do to support those clubs and finding the right contact person is a challenge. There was one club that just was a corporate club. They started the year with 24 members and they up and decided to close their club. But I later learned, I think maybe their company was bought out, so maybe the new owners weren't interested in continuing the Toastmasters program. So that's always a challenge when your support at the corporate level disappears.
Yes. It's a difficult challenge, and no matter what the circumstances are, Carol and I have both tried to help start clubs. We've been successful in one case, but one of the corporate clubs that we tried to get started, the person who was gung ho about it left, and with that person gone, the energy just evaporated. And what do? You just basically, that corporation could use people to help them develop their speaking skills, but not much you can do. So clearly, aside from my again, running my tongue around my eye teeth, you've taken on leadership role, and you are definitely appreciated as somebody who has taken on a leadership role. Along with developing your interpersonal skills, it's a tremendous combination from my perspective. But I'm going to pass the baton briefly to my lovely host, Carol, who's got a couple more questions for you.
I certainly do, Jonathan. Would you recommend members pursue being part of the district leadership, such as being a club growth director, and why?
I would definitely recommend district leadership. One way is it gets you out of the comfort zone of your club. It's a great way to meet other people, to expand your skill set. Leading a club requires one set of skills. Stepping up, say, to your first district leadership position, which could be area director, requires a new set of skills, supporting more than one team of people, because the area director visits and supports 3 to 4, I guess now it's a minimum 4 Toastmasters clubs within their area. And for me, it really gives me something meaningful to do with my time outside of work. As I alluded to earlier, I used to spend a lot of time on video games, and well, that's an entertaining pursuit. It's not necessarily, for me, meaningful, because I can't really share stuff like that with other people and have them be impressed. Like, it wouldn't help me on a job interview, for example, to say that I passed so many levels fighting imaginary monsters. But actually directing and supporting other people, organizing speech contests, and as club growth director, supporting club building and club retention, that looks good on a resume, and it's also satisfying for me as something to do with my time outside of work. And I think a good foray into leadership at the district level, it's good to start at area director. You can't just rush into being club growth director without having served on the district in some lower capacity first.
I can see where a young person can gain a lot of skills. As a program manager and a first and second line manager, you get to try out things in Toastmasters. The skills would definitely transfer to an office or a community organization. What are the requirements to become a district leader?
That's a good question. I thought that to be an area director, you had to have been a club president before, but it only says to the degree practicable, area directors should have served as a member of the district council in the district in which they want to serve. So that means that it's ideal if you have been a president, a vice president of education, or vice president of membership before you step up to be an area director, but it's not a hard requirement. But to be a division director, you have to have served at least 6 months on the district council. And also it's ideal if you've been in the district that you want to serve in. And then up to the higher levels, club growth director, program quality director, you need to have served 6 months as a club president and at least 12 months as program quality director, club growth director, division director, or area director. And I think the reason behind that is you can't be effective as a club growth director or program quality director if you don't understand the roles below you. It's much better if you've worked your way up the ranks and you have experience of what the other roles entail. And finally, district director has similar requirements. Again, you need to have been at least 6 months a club president, and then you have to have served as program quality director, club growth director, division director, or one of those three. Just so that when you're at the top level in the district, you have a better understanding of what all the roles in the district are like, because that better equips you to be an effective supporter and train and equip your team members with what they need to know.
Mm-hmm.
So really, you could do what I did and stumble into area directorship with no experience whatsoever, but it helps if you've served at least a year as a president or a VP Ed, so you know what it's like to lead a club. So when you go out to support the clubs in your area, you understand what challenges they face, what the responsibilities are, and that you can coach them and guide them in leading their clubs, especially because you might be supporting people who are stepped into club officer roles for the first time. So those are the requirements for district leadership. Oh, and I should mention there are appointed district leadership roles like administration manager, logistics manager, finance manager, and public relations manager. I didn't find any listings for what those requirements are. I think anybody can be appointed to those roles. They're not elected.
Mm-hmm.
And there are other support roles for the district where you can build differing skills.
Well, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Well, you tell me that doesn't sound like real world, what you need to do in order to climb the corporate ladder. You need to learn what it is the people you're working with do so that you can in turn lead them, which puts you on another level of management, and then understanding how what that team really actually does allows you to advance to the next level. So it sounds to me like that's very much a real world kind of climb the corporate ladder within Toastmasters. All right, Jonathan, are there any other additional remarks you'd like to make about being a Toastmaster?
Yeah, I'd say Toastmasters is a great place to gain comfort in public speaking. I went from being completely afraid and paranoid about revealing personal details about myself to a room of strangers when I first joined Toastmasters, to being somebody who enjoys going to other clubs and giving speeches. I even organized my own non-Toastmasters networking event, which I spoke at. We only had 4 people show up in addition to our functionaries for the event, but because of Toastmasters, I had the confidence and comfort to do my own in-person networking event in Windsor, Ontario, and speak at that event. So it's really about building confidence. And my favorite thing to do in Toastmasters is to serve as a leader at the club or district level. As I mentioned earlier, it gives me something meaningful, and I'd also say fun, to do with my time outside of work. I don't know if everybody would think serving your club and district would be fun, but it is. You just have to try it. And one of the best things to do in Toastmasters is to go outside your club and visit other clubs, or go to district or area or division events like speech contests. Those are a lot of fun. You can meet a lot of interesting and diverse people with different backgrounds really helps you realize people aren't so scary, because I'm an introvert and meeting new people isn't something I ever really envisioned doing on a regular basis when I first joined Toastmasters, but now I meet new people all the time through Toastmasters events beyond the club level. So that's what I'd say. The club level experience is great. It's also good once you've become comfortable at the club level to expand your comfort zone and go beyond the club. And I like to call serving in leadership roles taking your Toastmasters experience to the next level.
Well, I can definitely second what you're saying about coming out of your shell. Believe it or not, here I am doing a podcast, and Toastmasters has helped me tremendously with my introvert characteristics. I now am far more comfortable walking into a room and starting to talk to people. And that's all really one of the skills that I'm gaining from Toastmasters, so I can relate to that completely. At this point, we have run out of time just about. So I really do want to thank you for your participation in this podcast. I'm certain that the folks that listen to our podcast are going to be very interested in hearing from you and the experience that you're getting and everything that you've shared today. And I really do appreciate you being on our podcast. And I'll let you know as soon as possible when it gets posted. In the meantime, I am going to play our closeout music, and we're going to call this a wrap. Thank you again, Jonathan.